This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, welcome everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Habayim. We're continuing in the Iggeres HaMussar of Rabbi Salanter. Firstly, Baruch Hashem, the new Sefer just arrived in my house on the 3 weeks in Tisha B'Av, which was written L'Zecher Nishmas, my grandfather, and many of his spiritual heroism in the Holocaust. Again, if anybody wants to join us next weekend for our trip, we have spots available. We're continuing in the Iggeres HaMussar. Yesterday we learned of the great value of learning a subject in depth, and really the only way to change one's nature would be to have a very conscientious and analytical study of the halachos relevant to the area where one is weak in. Slowly, it will wear away at one's previous habit. Rabbi Yisrael says even if somebody is able to downgrade his sin from what was previously maybe lahaches to leteavon, would be of great value. Now Rabbi Yisrael says, V'hinei betavlin ha-Torah li'Yetzer Harah yesh oid bechina ruchanis. Behold, the medication of Torah for the Yetzer Harah has another spiritual dimension to it. Shahaseichel, that the intellect, v'chushei ha'adam, and the senses of a person, nilu lahaker sibasa, will tire trying to recognize how it operates. In other words, the previous medication, namely, let's say a person is weak in the area of speaking to people sensitively, so if they learn the halachos in depth, that will create a new habit. That's pretty reasonable. I think that's something that we can understand. If somebody exerts rigorous effort to study a certain subject, it will affect their nature in that area. However, if this medication is not necessarily intuitive, namely, Humamer Chazal, this is what Chazal tell us, Torah be'idna da'asikba matzla. Torah, while you engage in it, it saves a person from sin. Torah be'idna da'asikba saves a person from sin. Torah, while you're learning from it, it saves a person from sin. Now, that this medication, it doesn't matter what subject you're learning. A person could be learning Baba Kama. A person could be learning Yevamos. Here we're learning Yevamos in the Daf HaShavua. It is of no relevance at all, most of the Masechta, in terms of practical halacha. The situations of Yibam are quite uncommon, and even when there is a situation of Yibam, we don't perform Yibam. Nevertheless, all Torah has the spiritual capacity to protect a person from sin, at least while they're involved in learning the Torah. Ve'ein chiluk be'eza divrei Torah shiyu iskai. It doesn't matter what subject you're engaged in. Tatzilenu mechet. It will save a person from sin. Im yasoik be'inyan shar shenagach es hapara. Okay, Yetzer, if you involve yourself in the sugya of shar shenagach es hapara, tatzilenu gam miloshen hara. It will spare a person even from loshen hara. So all Torah that one learns has an impact on a person. Hagam ki enam shayachim zalza, although they are not related to each other. Rak ruchanios haTorah tishmerenu. The spirituality of the Torah will save a person. Now, Rav Goldberg brings a very interesting idea. So far, we've learned 2 ways that Torah spares a person from sin. Number 1, when you learn a subject in depth, it will save a person from sin. It's a psychological method. When you study the subject and you focus on it and you exert effort in it, it will help you overcome that temptation. That only works for the person themselves. Let's say somebody has a Yisachar Zavulun relationship with somebody who learns. Somebody is a provider and the other person learns. So obviously, the person who's providing will definitely be rewarded for his support, but you can't say that if the learner is learning Hilchas Lashon Hara, then the supporter will be protected in the area of Lashon Hara, because the supporter is not thinking about the subject of guarding from Lashon Hara at all necessarily. However, the spiritual component that learning Torah protects, that would accrue to the supporter as well, to the Yisachar Zvulan as well. By the way, this works with husband and wife. The Gemara in Masechta Brachos asks, Nashim b'may zachyon, women, what is their merit? And the Gemara says their merit in Olam Haba is the Torah learning of their husbands, of their children. Now, what's the Gemara's question? What is a woman's merit? Women have many, many mitzvos. Women don't need... there's no question what's a woman's merit. Women have many mitzvos. Women have Hadlakas Ner Shabbos, have the mitzvah of Chala. They have the mitzvah of Gemilas Chasadim. Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz learns, the question is, Nashim, how can they overcome their Yetzer Hara? Because since Hashem created a Yetzer Hara, and the medication is the Torah, and women are not commanded in Talmud Torah, so how do women overcome the Yetzer Hara? The answer is the learning of their husbands or their children that will accrue to them to protect them from the Yetzer Hara. But again, this is the latter method, namely the method of the spiritual protection learning Torah offers. But the psychological protection of learning something in depth, that accrues only to the learner themselves. So this is very important. It comes out that if somebody is weak in a certain area, the best medication is to learn that subject in depth, and that will protect a person in two ways. Number one, the in-depth study of something psychologically helps protect a person, and then spiritually, any Torah helps protect a person and wards off the power of the Yetzer Hara. So we're going to hold it here today. Wishing everybody an amazing day. You could join us tonight, 9:15. Yivamis Nun Chesam Beis. Tomorrow morning, Parshas Balak. And until then, wishing everyone a great day. Bracha v'hatzlacha.
How do we order the bus?
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.